Module number 1 of Cryptography and System Securities. What are security goals? So there are three security goals: confidentiality of information, integrity, and availability of information. So we have confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality is probably the most common aspect of information security. We need to protect our confidential information. Confidential information is your password, which you cannot share with others. It is a confidential information. So we have to protect the confidential information. An organization needs to guard against those malicious actions that endanger the confidentiality of its information. In military, concealment of sensitive information is a major concern. So in military, the military people, they use certain signs to communicate with each other. If these signs are leaked to the opponent, to the person who is against them, then it will cause a problem. So you have to safeguard the sensitive information. So they have to safeguard this sensitive information. In industry, hiding some information from competitors is crucial to the operation of the organization. So in industry, if a company is making certain kind of a product, then whatever algorithm has been used to create that product has to be safeguarded, has to be kept a secret, so that the competitor does not copy the algorithm. In banking, customers' account needs to be kept as a secret. So also in the bank, the customer account details have to be kept a secret, because all these things are what? They are confidential information. Confidential information should not be leaked to a third party. As we will see later in this chapter, confidentiality not only applies to the storage of information, it also applies to the transmission of information. Is the transmission happening properly? So suppose there are two parties, say X and Y, and message has to be transmitted from X to Y. There should be no middle person involved during transmission. If there is a middle person who sees this information, then during transmission also the confidentiality of the information can be lost. When we send a piece of information to be stored in a remote computer, or when we retrieve a piece of information from a remote computer, we need to conceal it during the transmission. So this is X computer, this is Y computer, and the transmission of information is happening. So the transmission should be such that all the information is kept in a concealed format. Concealed is what? Concealed means hidden. Your information is hidden. Only X should know the information, and when Y it reaches Y, Y should know about it. No middle party should know about this information. Next is integrity. Information needs to be changed constantly. So information is again and again changed constantly. For example, sometimes you have to change your passwords. In fact, in some websites they ask you to change it every 3 months, so that there is a confidentiality maintained. So integrity is required because information is getting changed constantly. In a bank, when a customer deposits or withdraws money, so in a bank, when a customer will deposit or withdraw money, the balance of her account needs to be changed. Integrity means that changes need to be done only by authorized entities and through authorized mechanisms. So very important is through authorized mechanisms and by authorized entities. The account balance will be only changed by the person who is responsible for that job, who is working in that particular bank, and not by any other third person. Integrity violation is not necessarily the result of a malicious act. An interruption in the system, such as a power surge, may also create unwanted changes in some information. So integrity violation need not be a malicious act. That means it need not be that always a third party or an attacker is involved. It can also be due to interruption, such as a power surge. And in these cases, what happens? A rollback is issued. Why is a rollback issued? Because to save the information. next mechanism of security goals, next point of security goals is availability. The third component of information security is availability. Availability means that your information has to be available at all times, at all places. Very, very important, at all times, at all places. You need to have access to your information. You need that your information should be available. This information created and stored by an organization needs to be available to the authorized entities. If you are the authorized entity of a bank, that is, you are holding an account in the bank, you are the authorized entity of that account, then the details of the account should be available to you at all times and at all places. Information is useless if it is not available. Information needs to be constantly changed. That is what we saw in the part of integrity, which means it must be accessible to the authorized entities. The unavailability of information is just as harmful for an organization as the lack of confidentiality or integrity. Imagine what would happen to a bank if the customers could not access their accounts for transactions. So that is what, if you are the authorized holder of an account, you should be able to access it. That information of the account should be available to you at all times and at all places. So these are the 3 security goals.